What if the linebacker Dallas needs most is not the youngest one, not the cheapest one, but the one name that would make the whole locker room sit up straighter the moment we walked in? Yeah, Cowboys Nation, because when you talk about these three remaining linebacker options, Elliss, Bobby Wagner, and Bobby Okereke, there are a lot of ways to frame the debate. You can do age, you can do value, you can do upside. But for this channel, let's do it the old school way. Who brings the most presence, the most command, the most grown man defense starts here energy to a unit that badly needs to level up? And if that's the lens, Bobby Wagner jumps right into the middle of the conversation. Now, before anybody screams, he's older. Yes, of course he is. Everybody knows Bobby Wagner is in the late stage of a Hall of Fame career. But Washington's own free agency preview published yesterday still described him as a strong leader and said he continues to dissect offenses better than almost any defender in the league, even while acknowledging some limitations that come with age. That's not me romanticizing an old name. That's his own last team saying the football brain and downhill impact are still there. And the article we're reacting to says Wagner just put up 162 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, and 2 interceptions in 2025. Oh, that is not retirement home production. That is still I can help a real team win games production. And if you're Dallas, that matters, because this team is not searching for offense right now. The official Cowboys roster still shows Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens on the franchise tag, Javonte Williams, and an offense that can score. The official defensive additions already include Rashan and Jalen Thompson, which means the front office has already started rebuilding around the edges and the back end. So what's left? The middle, the communication, the linebacker room, the place where the defense needs somebody who not only tackles, but commands. And if there is one thing Bobby Wagner has been his whole career, it's a commander. And there's something very real about putting that kind of player in a room that needs maturity, urgency, and trust. But now let's compare that to Bobby Okereke, because this is where the debate gets serious. Okereke is not the name Wagner is, but he might be the better blend of age, experience, and clean availability. The Giants officially released him on March 5th, and their own tracker says he finished 2025 with 143 tackles after being a captain for each of his 3 seasons there. They also note he has 794 career tackles, 34 tackles for loss, 36 passes defensed, 11 forced fumbles, 8 fumble recoveries, 7.5 sacks, and 7 interceptions across 110 games. Oh, that is a lot of football, Cowboys Nation. Okereke doesn't arrive with the Hall of Fame glow that Wagner does, but he arrives with a sturdy, dependable resume and fewer questions about age. So if you're trying to find the linebacker who best balances, helps now, and still has some runway left, Okereke becomes really, really attractive. And then there's Elliss, who might be the most under-the-radar football fit of the group if his official status clears up. Atlanta's February preview made it clear that Elliss was set to become a free agent when the new league year opens, but as of today, the Falcons' official roster page still lists him. That's important because we have to be honest, you can't talk about him like he's already sitting untouched on the sidewalk when the team site still has him in the building. But once you get past that status wrinkle, the player is very interesting. The Falcons' official player page says Elliss has 359 tackles, 32 tackles for loss, 35 quarterback hits, 17 sacks, 8 passes defensed, and 3 forced fumbles, and the Falcons' Pro Bowl case for him from December highlighted his captaincy and impact. Yeah, that is the profile of a linebacker who gives you versatility. He can tackle, he can rush, he can play with energy, and he doesn't need a Hall of Fame aura to matter. So for this angle, biggest short-term spark, biggest leadership boost, biggest adults-are-in-the-room effect, I actually lean Wagner first. And I know that won't be everybody's answer, but if your argument is that Dallas needs one player to help turn this defense from loose to disciplined, from talented to organized, from hopeful to trustworthy, then Wagner has a real case. Brian Schottenheimer's Seattle history with him, which the SI piece mentioned, only adds to that feeling. This is the kind of veteran who would not need a month to understand what is required. He'd walk in and start setting standards. That has value, a ton of value, especially for a defense trying to find a new personality fast. Now, if you ask me who is the most balanced, long-termish answer, I'd pivot right back to Okereke. And if you ask me who might be the most interesting tactical chess piece, I'd say Elliss. But for this script, for this emotional lane, for the fan who wants to look at the defense and feel like it has a boss in the middle again, Bobby Wagner is the one that hits the hardest, because Cowboys Nation has seen enough sloppy defense, enough missed fits, enough almost leadership, enough waiting for someone to own the middle. Wagner has been that guy his whole career, and even now, Washington's own words say he still knows how to play the game at a very high mental level. That's exactly the sort of thing that ages better than raw speed. But again, let's keep it honest. If Dallas does not want to make a move based primarily on short-term trust and leadership, then Okereke becomes the strongest compromise. Officially available, still productive, still captain material, still in an age window that doesn't feel like a pure one-year patch. That's why this is a real debate and not just sign the biggest name. Wagner wins the presence battle. Okereke wins the balance battle. Elliss wins the versatility battle if he hits full market. And depending on how Christian Parker wants this defense to play, different people inside the building could honestly prefer different answers. And that's why this is such a fun Cowboys conversation. Meanwhile, the official Cowboys movement tells you there is no reason to think Dallas is done. The team has already added Gary, Thompson, PJ Locke, and Otito Ogbonnia, and the coaching staff now has Christian Parker over the defense, Ryan Smith in the secondary, and Scott Simmons coaching inside linebackers. That is a lot of energy being poured into the defensive rebuild. So if linebacker gets one more move, it's not random, it's part of a pattern. Cowboys Nation, that should excite you. This team is acting like it knows exactly where last season went wrong. So for this channel's take, give me Bobby Wagner as the biggest leadership swing, Bobby Okereke is the most balanced football answer, and Caden Elliss as the intriguing scheme and energy option if his market fully opens. Tell me in the comments which one you'd bring in if your goal was to change the feel of the defense immediately. Hit like, subscribe, and let's keep pushing this Cowboys defense towards something real.